It is National Craft Month, and to celebrate today, I'm feeling kind of leprechaun-y, kind of lucky clover. That's right, I'm going to make something for St. Patrick's Day. And what inspired me, I've got this tote bag, and I've got a video that I just put up recently about making an apron. Same kind of principles if you wanted to do a tote bag or a lot of other fabric projects with the rhinestone kit, with any of the iron-on transfer material with fabric. There's a lot of different things. I'm going to do a no-sew tote bag though. Now obviously I purchased a sewn finished tote bag to start with, but now that I'm decorating, I'm not going to worry about it. And what I have here, this is a green glittery transfer iron-on sheet. Okay, so the way it's going to work, I've done several videos with this. You can look back through my ScanNcut playlist if you want to see more. The super shiny side you're going to want to have down when you actually put it on your mat for your ScanNcut. And you're going to want to set it, you're going to want to do a test so that you can figure out for your blade what works best, but you're going to want to set it on the mat shiny side down and set it so that it does not cut through the shiny part, which is actually the backing paper for the material, which you can see here. So what I am going to do, I'm going to make myself some little hearts and little clovers to decorate this bag. So let's get out the ScanNcut. So here on the machine, I'm going to go and take a look around and see what I've got in the way of themed stuff, if anything. Obviously I don't have something for every single holiday and occasion, and in this case it does not look like I have any ready to go, except there it is. There's my lucky clover. Yep, we just had to look a little bit more. So there's my lucky clover. I'm gonna make them, actually I'm gonna make one big clover, and I think I'm gonna go for about 6 inches. And once we are set, I'll just want to set my blade usually somewhere right about 4, maybe 3. It really depends on my blade. Right now I've got it at 5 because my blade is getting very old and ready to replace. And when that starts to happen, you'll notice you have to keep setting it higher. So because I've got my material in place, and all I need to do, I can see that I've got my material over a little. So I'm just gonna set that and cut. Now after cutting out my 4-leaf clover, I realized, whoops, I actually want to do a few hearts. So I'm going to go in here and pick out the basic heart, and I'm going to size it down right about 2 inches, although it doesn't have to be particular. And I actually want a couple of them, so I can go in here, add a few more. But before I'm going to cut them, and I'm certainly not going to cut them like that, I'm going to go ahead and push this button here and scan my mat. I'm going to scan my mat because I do have that missing clover piece. And this is one of my favorite things about working with the iron-on material, or really any material with my ScanNcut, and that is the ability to scan the material so that I can see exactly where I have space for whatever it might be that I want to cut out. I can see so easily where I can fit things, where I can get things cut out from, or where things won't fit. And what this allows me to do is I am going to be able to get little teeny tiny bits and pieces out of this. I'm going to get so much out of this one sheet of material. So once I'm all set, again, I'm just going to repeat the process here and go ahead and cut, just adjusting my blade a tiny bit. I noticed it was cutting a little deeper than I needed, and start. Now I have left my hearts on here because if I don't want to use them all, it is really easy to just keep them there on that sheet for future use. But I have a feeling I'm going to go ahead and use them. They're a lot of fun. I just love, this is probably my favorite material. This and the rhinestones, as far as fun things that don't require me to sew at all, but I can use my ScanNcut to do all kinds of interesting things with. So I'm taking my iron and just giving this a quick iron because it is kind of wrinkly, and I'm going to give it a little steam too since it's so wrinkled. And that's going to do 2 things. It's going to get rid of my wrinkles, but it's also, I just warmed up the area so I can place my lucky clover where I would like it. And then I've just got little squares of fabric. It's just good to have something on top. And all you're going to do is just give it a few seconds And you can leave it still for a couple seconds. I tend to keep moving, otherwise I forget, and that's never good. And if you're not sure if it's heat set or not, if you're not sure if you're done, all you need to do is let it cool down and then check. And you might notice I'm actually working on some thicker layers of fabric underneath just so I don't ruin my table and mat. So give it a minute or so, and as it cools down, like you'll see, I can lift it up. So no, mine is not set. I need to keep going. Not a problem. We'll just repeat those steps. In my last Scan and Cut video, I did a project, an apron actually. So if you want to see the rhinestone how-to, you can catch it on that one. But this is the design that I used on the apron with the rhinestone tool, and you can see my videos for that as well. I'll link below in the information over on YouTube and mention them on my blog as well. So if you're looking for more videos about the actual process for that, I'll have links. Basically, you're just putting rhinestones down and swirling around. You're going to want to put more than you need, and they'll brush using the circular motion. They brush right in. It's awesome. Now, what I have here, though, this is a pattern I already had cut out. I keep them, I reuse them as much as I can, which I love that I can even do that. So what I have here, though, is actually one that I did not use on the apron that I had already cut. And the way I've been storing it, because it's not a ton of work, but it's enough work to get it all just so that I didn't want to just get rid of it. So I just put it's on the transfer material, and I put the backing sheet back on, and it's just been sitting just like this waiting for a project. And I think I've got that project now because I think it would look really, really neat to have this kind of overlapping on my 4-leaf clover. So once I know where I want it, I'm just going to gently press it down there, and then I am going to put my little fabric cover over it. It looks like I just need the one, and then press. Now, one last tip that I just want to give you about putting in oops, I want to turn off the steam. When you're applying it to whether it's the iron-on material or rhinestones, what you will not see me doing is scrubbing. You might see me lightly, and I know you can't tell on camera, but very, very lightly move over an area if it's something like the glitter transfer, but you will not see me rub and scrub. And the reason for that is, if you were to try and do it in that way, you actually can like heat press and tear or make deformed your stuff. So don't do that. Now, as for my rhinestones here, normally I heat underneath before I place them. However, when I've got something like this where I've already been doing materials and I don't want to overheat because I'm layering, I skip that step. And so far, at least, it's worked really well. And then I can just lift this up slowly and gently to make sure everything is looking good. And if I feel like I need to, they are boiling hot to the touch. If I felt like I needed to, I could lift it up, or I could do again without the sheet on if I felt like there were some that weren't quite stuck. But looking at them, feeling them, it looks great. Now, only thing left, if I wanted to, I could add a little trim or something at the top, because I want to make this my March grocery bag, my shopping bag, my all-around bag. I'm going to leave it as it is because I find stuff on the handles or like trims, they're lovely and decorative, but if you're going to be using the bag heavily, they're not always the most practical. I hope you guys have enjoyed this tutorial. I will see you next time.